Hi everyone. Before we begin, I would like to emphasize that this video is separate from my work and is part of my desire and effort to bring zero-cost information to developers. Today I'm going to show you how to create a Bazel workspace from scratch to build and test Python code. So let's assume we already have a Python file that prints hello world, and we want to run this code on the terminal. So first thing we need to do is to tell basically Bazel that this is an executable or a binary. So let's create a build file. Let's invoke a PyBinary rule. Let's give it a name. We'll call it main. So this name shall be unique within the build within this build file, and it refers to this specific target. Then we also need to create a workspace. So the workspace shall be in the root of of our project, and it's just to tell Bazel that this is basically the root folder of our workspace. So now we have all three files needed to run our target. We can just invoke Bazel now with Bazel run main to run our program. So as you see, Bazel first fetching all tools needed to run it and for Bazel itself to run, and then it prints hello world. So everything works. Here you see that Bazel also created some bunch of symlinks, and we'll see afterward what are those for. So now next thing we can do with Bazel is to create a library. So let's go ahead. Let's create a simple library that we call name.py that just expose a getName function that just return a constant string. Then we need to tell Bazel that this is a Python library. So let's create a build file. Let's create a PyLibrary rule. We give it a name, and we give it the source of this library. And now we can use this library within our previous binary. So for that, we'll first tell that this library, this binary, depends on our freshly created library. So mylib.name, this refers to this. And now we can directly use it. So from mylib.name import, name. And now we can just print the output of this function here. All right. Now let's try to run the target again. As you see, we have an error already, and it tells basically in Python rule main, so in this file, the target mylib.name, so this one that we just added, is not visible from target main. And this is because Bazel has the visibility concept, and we need to define specifically that this rule shall be visible from the user of this rule, so from build. And here I'm telling basically it will be visible from the package at the root of our project. So this is the root of project, this is the package. And now we can run it again. All right, and that works, and we see Bazel. So the other thing we can do with the Bazel rule is to create a test. So for that, let's go ahead and let's create a test.py. Let's use the unit test from Bazel. We import our function we want to test. So we create the unit test class now. We'll create a simple unit test to test the value, the output value. And we'll test it against a random value for now to make sure that our test works. So this should actually fail. And we invoke the unit test here. So now we go into the build file, we create a PyTest rule with a name and a source, and we give it as dependency our library itself. So let's go ahead and let's try to run this test. So we'll use now Bazel test, and this means that we run all the tests within the root of the project. And as you can see, it fails. So to see now what actually fails, we can either invoke Bazel test with -- test output equal error. So let's go ahead. So here we see that basically the assertion of the test is wrong because we test it hello against Bazel and it should be the same. Or we can also go within one of those symlinks that Bazel created, the Bazel test log, mylib test, and here you can see also the test log. So let's quickly fix this test, and let's return Bazel here. All right, and let's run it again. Bazel test. All right, it passed. So we just saw how to create a Python binary, create a Python test, and create a library. So I hope you enjoyed, and if so, please subscribe.